I'm CWO4 Vic Pinion, U.S. Navy, retired, telling some stories of my naval career. Well, this is a continuation of my tour of duty aboard the aircraft carrier USS John F. Kennedy, CV-67. It was my last tour of sea duty of my naval career. I had especially requested this tour of duty to have an East Coast tour of sea duty in my resume because all my sea duty had been on the West Coast till this time frame. And I specifically requested John F. Kennedy because it had the same makes and models of catapults and resting gear as the USS Midway had. I felt that with my experience, my attitude, my training, whatnot, that I could do that maintenance officer job better than anybody. And I wanted to prove it to myself and round out my resume for possible post-naval career employment. Well, here I am aboard the John F. Kennedy. I've told a half dozen stories already about after I reported aboard. But we have visited Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. We've transited from Brazil up to the Mediterranean Sea. Now we're in the Mediterranean Sea. Our schedule has been all these port calls we were supposed to have. It's supposed to be really a pleasure cruise. Almost all of them have been canceled because of the situation in the world. We found ourselves off the coast of Lebanon in combat all the time, just all the time. We're keeping fighters in the air all the time because the radicals had exploded a truck bomb outside the U.S. Marine Barracks and killed something like 144 Marines, 244. In any case, but we're on the line there, keeping fighters in the air 24/7. I had lots of maintenance to do on the machinery. That much machinery, you do have a lot of maintenance to do, and I'm the maintenance officer. And I'm doing my best to keep the machines operational. And so I would schedule maintenance on, say, when I've got to down one of the catapults or one of the arresting gear engines for the night to do maintenance on it, I would schedule that up and coordinate it, interface it with other outfits that had work to do, no matter who they were, whatever. I'd coordinate it through the aircraft handling officer. And we did pretty good. Some things, especially on the waste catapults, like in the water break area, the forward end of the waste catapults, we were not allowed to open up the forward end of those waste catapults because it'd make a big hole in the landing area, which would kill the landing of aircraft on board. I mean, you couldn't land airplanes with that hole there, which presented a real problem for us. And I also discovered a double bang of Cat number 4's water brakes, just a bang bang. Every shot, every time you fired that catapult, just a bang bang. And I discovered some other problems every time you fire any of the catapults, because the trough covers were physically misaligned between each other. Not a lot, but enough to make that thing. And Cat 3, it was a C-13 Mod 1, longer than the other 3 catapults on the ship. They were all C-13 Mod O's. But Cat 3's shuttle, the catapult shuttle, hung up mid-catapult, in mid-catapult, and would not move, wouldn't budge forward or aft. And we got different kinds of tractors jerking on that thing, trying to jerk it loose. And we finally got the ship's tilly, the boat and aircraft crane, or not boat and aircraft, but the crane, the mobile crane that the aircraft carriers had on them at that time. We jerked it loose and we got it loose. And I'm testing it with the dynamometer, seeing how much force it would take to move the shuttle past this point. And the only factor I had was something like 2,500 pounds was when we tested after we do some maintenance. 2,500 pounds was, I think, the maximum that we were permitted to use. to tow that, have restriction for that much force to tow that shuttle the length of the catapult. Well, we were like, my goodness, 6,000 pounds. 6,000 pounds trying to tow that shuttle past that point. And I sent a message to the Naval Air Engineering Center. They come back and authorized us to continue using that catapult up to, like, I think the number was something like 11,000 pounds of force to move it. Well, we exceeded that. We discovered that we had the equipment on board to measure the gap of the cylinder covers, which normally done by a civilian tech rep from the Naval Air Engineering Center. But we had the equipment on board, we just didn't have the tech rep. So the chiefs and I got the crew together and we measured, and we found that one cylinder was open quite a bit more than the other, and I put that in a message to the Naval Air Engineering Center, and they come back and advised us. They never did tell us we couldn't use that catapult. But they did come back and say, water brakes, we have some defectively manufactured annular strings in the water brakes. Inspect ours. And we did, and we discovered, sure enough, we had some of those defectively manufactured annular strings. And we were required to replace them. I had the contract number. And we checked in supply department, and had something like 24 of them down there or something, and drew them, and none of them had that contract number, so we put a couple of them in Cat 4. And I sent them a message. They come back, said, we didn't know it, but we've discovered there's some additional bad contract numbers. You put them in Cat 4, one of them you put in Cat 4, remove it and put, a different one in there. Okay, well, we had broken all the sockets that we had that fit those bolts. We had also stripped out some threads in there, replaceable threads, and we had the tools to do it, but we just couldn't replace them. We just tried. So I removed the service change that had put those threads in there and put some old bolts back in there and to hold that thing together. And my message told them what I'd done. Just what I'm telling you is that I had lots of problems. But we made it. We never did get down to where we could not use those catapults. One of them, Cat 3's piston guide wore out. I mean, completely out, where we were steel on steel. And I downed the catapult, but the captain would not let me blow steam down on it. He said, I will use that catapult if I have to, even if I have to destroy it using it. But no, we're not going to be able to open up the forward end of that cat and replace those piston guides until further notice. Okay, so that's the end of this story. Y'all carry on.